Hello, I'm Natasha Hussain, and this is Newsfeed, your dose of what people are talking about online. Today, we're shining the spotlight on the mental health impact of the Gaza conflict. The Israeli bombardment has not only killed tens of thousands of Palestinians, but displaced most of the territory's population and caused a humanitarian catastrophe of epic proportions. Relentless Israeli bombings and gunfire, displacement, and severe shortages have taken a severe physical toll and mental toll on Palestinians. It's been difficult to cope and pick up the pieces. Take Palestinian photojournalist Motaz Aziza.
So as you can see behind the guy who's filming me with the phone now, it's all about destruction.
Motaz was in Gaza covering the conflict until he had to flee for his own safety in January. These days, the photojournalist is based out of Qatar and travels the world speaking out against Israeli atrocities committed in Gaza. But Motaz's journey since evacuating has been far from easy. He's been very vocal about his mental health struggles. We spoke to him earlier in the year, and he said the impact of the conflict lingers as he's racked by trauma and survivor's guilt.
The guilt of the survivor, it's real. I feel like it's choking me, something's choking me, or there's like a huge track on my chest. This is what I feel. And I can't deal with people like me, like I am Motaz was before the 7th of October. So at the same time, I'm not the only one who feels this. All the cousins feels this. So but it's not the time to take care of myself. I need to do more. Anything is around me I feel like it's unreal. Yeah, nothing is real. There is something that moves us, is the passion. And when you lose passion, you lose power, you lose yourself. For me, I don't have any passion for anything, totally. So yeah, just doing this just because I don't want the guilt feeling that keeps staying with me. That I survived and did nothing, go and do something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's next for you then? You will obviously continue using your voice since...
Yeah, talking more, speaking more, showing more, meeting more, and maybe taking care of my mental health, maybe. But because if I will take care of my mental health, I need time, and I don't have time. Yeah.
Motaz's friend and colleague Hind Qadari has also been vocal about her mental health struggles. Even before the conflict, the Gaza-based journalist had been dealing with depression. She stopped taking her medication in 2023 as she was feeling better, but is now in severe need of treatment. She'd received a thoughtful message from a follower that reminded her of her mental health. The mental health crisis has impacted ordinary Gazans far and wide, and of course, the young too. If life wasn't already tough for infants and children in the enclave, it's only gotten worse. The United Nations and aid groups warn that children in Gaza need massive psychosocial support.
UNICEF has called this a war on children, and we do that because of the numbers. Normally, in a crisis, and all crises like this, all wars hurt children the most. They're the most vulnerable. But normally it's around 20% of casualties are children. Here it's much closer to 40. More than 10,000 children. The numbers keep going, have been killed. We don't know how many are under the rubble. Yes, this has been absolutely devastating for children. Of course, the psychological stress. Gaza is not a place for children right now, but there are more than 1 million children here. But a lot needs to be done. 2/3 of homes and buildings are devastated. As I say, the psychological trauma on children, that will be a huge, huge area that needs to be addressed. If war continues and they have mental stresses and they're unable to get the skills to be part of a workforce, then you can have a demographic disaster.
UNICEF spokesperson James Elder there warning of a potential demographic disaster in Gaza. Well, to get a sense of the mental health struggles faced by ordinary Gazans, filmmaker and journalist Bisan Ouda spoke to Palestinians about how they're coping.
احكوا لي شو بتعمل علشان تحسنوا من نفسيتكم في الحرب؟
بنلعب وبنروح نشتري.
وين؟
بنلعب نشتري.
خليني اسألك سؤال أصغر، أنت مبسوط؟
لا،
ليش؟
في حد.
أنت مش مبسوط عشان في الحرب؟ شو كمان؟ طب شو أشياء بتخليك مبسوط في اليوم؟
ولا إشي.
طب شو بتعمل عشان تصير مبسوط؟
ولا إشي.
برضه ولا إشي؟ شو بتعملي في الحرب عشان تحسني نفسيتك؟
أنا عارفة تعبت من الحرب هذا، يعني كثير تعبت ودمار وتعب وشقى ووسخ وقرف.
طب كيف بتحسن نفسيتك؟
ايش نفسيتي تعبانة مدمرة على الآخر، دايما عيانة ومش قادرة.
احنا نفسيتنا كلها تعبانة، في الشهر الثالث داخلين ونفسيتنا محطمة وخلف اولادنا تعبانين نفسيا وكل شيء، فيش اكل فيش شيء، كل شيء متدمر، كل يعني ايش الناس بدها تريح لما بيتنا خليناه، احنا من غزة الزيتون بس بيتنا خليناه وكل شيء يعني طلعنا فيش معانا.
يلا احنا عايشين في العيش اللي معانا حاليا، اما صحة نفسية تعديلي كيف قلب كيف مخ زمان نسينا هاي الاشياء.
The impact from the conflict has reverberated far beyond Gaza's borders. It's undeniably the first conflict that the world has seen unfold in real time through unfiltered, raw updates on social media. It's those very updates that have been used as evidence in the case against Israel for genocide at the International Court of Justice. And such raw videos and images from Gaza have also helped reshape the mainstream narrative of the conflict. But while such posts have been eye-opening for netizens, unfortunately, as Lara reports, they too carry a heavy mental burden.
During crises, social media can become both a messenger and menace. For example, since Israel initiated relentless attacks on Gaza in October, feeds have been flooded with gut-wrenching videos and photos.
Honestly, some of the videos that I've seen and I've been reposting over the last couple of weeks, it's horrible. It's absolutely horrible, man.
These visuals raise awareness but take a toll on users' mental well-being. The more violence witnessed, the higher the risk of psychological distress.
I'm so sorry to the people of Gaza. We tried so hard.
As I keep researching and learning about what's happening in Palestine right now, I can't stop crying.
High exposure to graphic content can lead to conditions like secondary trauma, PTSD, or survivor's guilt, where witnessing or surviving an event feels like a wrongdoing.
A lot of things that used to matter to me have completely turned mundane. Even things with like sports or things with school or just friends, it's like it all feels obsolete.
We sit in the comfort of our houses with our nice cars, our telephones, our chargers, our comfortable beds, with food in our fridges. We have all of these blessings that we have completely taken for granted.
We're not grateful. I'm cold right now and I'm wearing a jacket. They have nothing in winter, man.
Users find themselves grappling with flashbacks, heightened irritability, and anxiety throughout the day.
I think about you before I go to my bed, as soon as I wake up in the morning. I think about you all the time. I think about your heartache. I think about your sorrow.
Yet, many feel obligated or even guilty if they're not constantly updated on the events happening in Gaza.
I'm scrolling on TikTok and all day it's just been parents holding the bodies of their children. The fear I'm feeling right now, they've been feeling for decades.
On the digital battleground, social media platforms have the power to steer the narrative. But to a large degree, they have sidestepped moderating viral content, amplifying chaos and misinformation. This leads many to the conclusion that the global mental health fallout from the onslaught is just beginning.
You can't deny that the conflict in Gaza has completely changed the social media landscape. To delve deeper into the impact on both social media dynamics and mental health, we talked to Taylor Lorenz. She's a tech journalist and the author of Extremely Online, the untold story of fame, influence, and power on the internet.
I think the mental health impact happens on both ends, right? You have the creators that are increasingly sharing this news on this hyper politicized war where they're getting unprecedented amounts of hatred and attacks and bullying and harassment. Also, just the psychological damage of having to cover a war. It's very exhausting. You're watching a lot of brutal footage. It's very disturbing, often to people that might have family in the Middle East, you know, and have relatives that have been affected by this war. And then, of course, you have the followers and the fans that are viewing a lot more, you know, graphic content from the ground. They're in distress. You know, it makes people, even in America, you see a lot of people talking about feeling unsafe because they're witnessing this just unprecedented level of violence, and hate crimes have spilled over into the U.S.
So what can social media platforms and governments do to make the internet safer for people?
Gosh, well, I mean, I think that, you know, they could do a lot. They could do a lot more to allow users to control their own experience online. I think free speech is the most important thing here, especially as a journalist. I'm very troubled by the level of censorship and moderation, heavy-handed moderation, I should say, on apps like Instagram and TikTok and X. But I think that they could make it healthier by allowing users to better control their environment, putting on more controls, blocking comments, having more sort of private ways of sharing. I mean, Meta just did this with rolling out close friends posts on the grid feed on Instagram. So I think things like that help. Anything that helps you limit your audience.
What's interesting also is that we talk about the impact of these videos and content on the end user. But on the other end of the spectrum, there's content moderators, which are also impacted by this deeply.
Yes. Look, there's a reason these tech companies have increasingly relied on AI moderation and automated forms of moderation, because the toll that this, you know, viewing this horrific content over and over again takes on these content moderators, these human content moderators, is just, you know, extreme. And they're often getting paid minimum wage.
Social media has seen the atrocities unfolding in Gaza being spread to the world almost instantly. While it's a window into the daily horrors of life under bombardment, the non-stop images have taken a toll on content creators and the users at the other end of the screen. So do be mindful. If you feel it's all getting too much, limit what you view and reach out to someone who can help with the trauma. From me and the Newsfeed team, stay safe online. And on that note, that's the end of our show. Find our latest stuff on YouTube and do subscribe to our channel. See you soon.